Okay, so thank you everyone. Thank you for coming. M.A.G.I.C is the Metro Area Governors Island Coalition. M.A.G.I.C is really new, and this is our first in-person event. So we're playing it by ear partially, but it seems to be working out pretty well so far. And I'm Roger Manning, and this is Ellie Ryan. We're the co-founders of M.A.G.I.C. I mean, the organization is new since November, but we've been around Governor's Island forever, so it's like the people in M.A.G.I.C are very experienced with Governor's Island. It's just that there doesn't seem to have been a formal group to resist these ridiculous upzonings that they're trying to throw at us. And anyway, so today what we're doing is, well, I guess it's sort of a demonstration, but it's a walking tour where we're going to highlight places in the environmental impact statement that the trust themselves had to bring about, that shows that, it's very, very damning, showing the building heights and the impact on what their proposal will have on the island. I mean, two key points is like, essentially, or a couple of key points. Essentially, the Trust for Governor's Island has applied for an upzoning for the South Island to put in high-rise, high-density development there. And that's like, 250 to 300 foot story buildings in a place that's all low rise and that kind of thing. And they talk about, they're going to bring in a climate research center, which is actually any discussion of a climate research center in when discussing the rezoning is irrelevant. It's an upzoning of the southern island to allow massive heights, and that's 4.3 million square feet of development. And this climate change center thing, it sounds like a great idea, but there's nothing legally requiring that actually be the resulting tenant. The main reason for the climate research center concept, it's an anchor tenant that helps draw developers in. The other thing they need to draw developers in is building height. That's why you're getting all these building height requests. So but they don't have to actually build that, and there's expanded commercial uses will be allowed under this upzoning. Anyway, so what we're going to show you, we're going to take you to spots, and I have my slideshow here on this clipboard of these images, which are just very disturbing, and but also if you have cell coverage, stuff like this, we have the slideshow on our website. So when you visit these spots, you can just point your phone, by the way, at the QR code. Thank you. Yeah. And get if you want to, maybe you don't want to use your smartphone on this tour, that's fine. But you can see the images on your smartphone as we go. There's on the home page it just says slideshow. It's only about 5 slides. So we're going to do that. We're going to walk around and get the reality of two things. One, how bad their thing is, and also we have the M.A.G.I.C alternative vision, which maybe you've seen this on the website.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Which is actually more in line with what a lot of us thought would happen when they set aside these development zones. So say, okay, you're going to put some stuff in these development zones that bring some income. It'll be something like this. Whoa, right? Anyhow, so we'll look at the good and the bad as we go around. And another thing is we're going to canvas. I was out here yesterday. It's the easiest sell in the world. I was telling people about this rezoning and handing them these things. And they were like, whoa, no kidding. Nobody I've talked to on Governor's Island wants this. Anybody that comes here and knows the place does not want this stuff. And the big thing here is that the vote is May 11th. It's coming up May 11th in the City Council. It's the Land Use Committee vote. That's the vote that really counts here. And we need people to lobby their city council members. Or if you know the city council member's dog walker, they can talk to their cook, they can, whatever. Or their next door neighbor. We can't really get access to them so easily. They're busy, So we need to lobby these city council members drastically, and there'll be more stuff coming out from that. So I think I'm wrapping up my part of this because we're going to have a few people speak here. We have a couple of candidates, which we're going to hear from, which is great. Try to speak, less than I did if you can, 2 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that. And we have Kevin Fitzpatrick, who wrote a book and is an expert on the history in Governor's Island. He's going to come with us under the facts. In fact, I think we can talk about this house here where Gorbachev actually was president at one point. I hope to interrupt me, Allie.
You're doing great.
Are we covering it pretty well?
Yeah.
Allie, do you want to speak for a minute or two?
Okay. So I'm Allie Ryan, and I'm co-founder of M.A.G.I.C. My husband, who's here, we got married on Governor's Island back in 2010. So for me, the south end of the island is special for many reasons. But public space is personal to me, but I think it's personal to all of us who are here today, because we live in the city, we have sidewalks, we have skyscrapers all around us, but we come to Governor's Island to get away from it all. We can see it at a distance. We have greenery around us. And that's why I'm fighting, because I think it's worth the time and to reimagine the island for recreation, for time to just be. And there is, like, our group is called M.A.G.I.C, but it's because there's magic on this island when you come out here. And so now I'm gonna let Kim Watkins speak first. And she's running for Manhattan Borough President.
Kim, just a moment. One other key point that I forgot to throw in there is the justification for the upzoning is that it will bring in money to finance the island, which is complete BS. By the trust's own figures, it wouldn't break even until 2050. Meanwhile, the taxpayers subsidize the project by billions, probably, like Hudson Yards.
Yeah.
You saw it. You know, it's a similar financial setup to that. So when people say, "Well, we need to bring in money for the island," I say, "Well, just get the subsidies and give it to Governor's Island directly, and do the M.A.G.I.C plan." Anyway, thank you.
No problem. Thank you. I appreciate that anecdote. Hi, everybody. My name's Kim Watkins, and I'm a public school parent. I did not get married on Governor's Island, but my family and I have spent so much time here. We've done parkour with the Movement Creative, which does parkour on Governor's Island, and I'm a park steward of street trees in Harlem, where I live. I'm running for Manhattan Borough President, mostly on a campaign for the improvement of our school system, but as soon as I saw the notice about what was going on in Governor's Island at the beginning of April, my campaign team put out a statement opposing it. And the thing that I want to say, just in terms of fighting this kind of process, right? The mayor and the commissioners know that they're going to be out of office at the end of this year. So they're going to try to ram this through in order to make sure that they have a legacy of some sort of state-of-the-art facility that will last in perpetuity in this city. But what we know, what everyone here knows, is that the place is beautiful right now. We don't need to change anything. My daughter and I were literally just over on the rocks, climbing the rocks and walking the beautiful space that's already out there right now. And we absolutely need to oppose this. I will happily canvass with you today. And I think if we can gather enough momentum through all the emails that I know I've been getting and been forwarding, which is awesome, and build that momentum on social media. We know for a fact that in this city, this is so incredibly sad that it comes down to public shaming and legal fights. Hopefully it won't go to a legal fight, but let's public shame the shit out of the mayor. This is ridiculous, what they're doing to our city. We do not need to simply develop every inch of our entire city as a function of economic contributions. How about environmental sustainability? True environmental sustainability, as your t-shirt there says. We need to focus on our birds and our bees and our bugs and what our kids really need, and that is a space like this island. So I'll turn it back over to Alice.
Thank you, Cal. So I'd also like to now introduce Lindsey Boylan. She's also running for Manhattan Borough President.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm Lindsey Boylan. I'm a career urban planner and a progressive Democrat, and I've spent my whole career in public parks primarily. When I came to New York, my first love was Bryant Park. It was kind of like my home, like all of us. Our public spaces in this city become our homes, whether it's East River Park, Central Park, Washington Square Park. For me, Bryant Park, where I actually met my husband, so I have kind of a similar story to you. And they are our history and our future. And this Governor's Island is our history and our future. I was remarking just a few minutes ago that these London plane trees not only are beautiful, but they had a historical context. They were put in a lot of public spaces by Robert Moses and other people because they could withstand the Industrial Revolution, so smoggy, smoky cities, and the idea was they could absorb some of that. And so when we tear down, when we destroy the quality of our public realm and our public spaces, we're destroying a part of our own history, and that's more important now than ever. One other anecdote that I think is so fascinating and important and speaks to what Kim and everyone has been saying is this is a beloved public space just as it is. There's nowhere else in the city that you see people get off a ferry en masse with bicycles. Do you see that anywhere else in this city? I mean, not to say you have to be a cyclist to enjoy this, but just as a happening in this city. I was saying I wish that I had taken my daughter to learn how to bike here because I would have felt very safe doing it. And it's just a magical thing that you can't do anywhere else. And the history of our city, in many ways, is this fight between big development run by very powerful individuals and the fight for livability and preservation of space. And I think this is one of those key battles. If Olmsted were alive today, I think he would join this fight. If Jane Jacobs were alive today, she would join this fight. And I think we owe it to our kids to preserve this beautiful place. And the idea that any new development, as proposed by the city with these huge heights, embedded in new zoning or upzoning, are going to destroy the quality of this public space that is so beloved. So it just can't happen. And, to Kim's point, I've received more emails about this particular plan proposed by the city than anything else. So it shows you how beloved and successful this public space is and how worthy it is of being preserved. And we need to put all the fight we can into doing that. And it's infinitely possible, because just as much as our leaders don't want that they want to leave a legacy, they also don't want to be demonized for future. And I think we need to do everything we have to prevent this upzoning. So thank you all so much, and I'm so supportive of what M.A.G.I.C is doing, and thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, thank you, Lindsey. Thank you, Kim. So there's also one more thing I want to talk about, because I see lots of friends and neighbors from District 1 and District 2 wearing Save East River Park, Demand True Resiliency. And I think it's worth noting, and this is something I actually talk in every time I testify at a public hearing about Governor's Island, I can't help but compare the Eastside Coastal Resiliency Project, and that the city wants to demolish a heavily actively used park that's a floodplain and raise it 8 to 10 feet in the name to become a flood wall, and then because we need flood protection. Whereas here, the development sites for the rezoning plan are in a floodplain. So it's okay to build a multi-billion-dollar corporate office research center. It doesn't make sense. There's such hypocrisy going on. So I want to say thank you to friends and neighbors who are coming, who want to save East River Park, coming today to support us, and also to save Governor's Island. But as we're noting, saving parks is crazy as a campaign issue in 2021, but it really is. I mean, this is just sort of crazy to me. But anyway, I want to leave it on that note, so I'm going to let Roger take over now.
Yeah, but we're here and getting to where we're going to move on. I was reminded of a point, the word legacy. Legacy for the city council. Let's not make this the, Penn Station of now. Destroying a beautiful public resource, and then let's skip 60 years forward and just not have to, bring it back. So I think talk about embarrassing the, public officials and the mayor's office. We got to come up with a hashtag for that. Not Penn Station 2.2. Of course, people are going to get confused with the Penn Station upzoning.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Which we
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So if they go through with this upzoning, how do you think that will affect the car-free culture that families and the rest of us completely treasure
Oh,
here?
it won't affect anything. There's only going to be 200 more parking spaces on the island, and all kinds of truck traffic at the piers. Facetiously,
Don't be facetious though, it's not effective in fighting.
yeah,
I'm not just saying, people hear it and they don't get the facetiousness.
yeah.
I mean, I just really think,
And thank you. And the other point is that M.A.G.I.C is part of the citywide People's Land Use Alliance. There's groups from people here representing some of those groups here today. Folks fighting rezoning battles, upzoning battles all over the city. The Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, Gowanus, Inwood, Queens, Soho, NoHo. And
also
we-
in Two Bridges
Seaport.
and South
Seaport,
Street
River
Seaport.
Park.
East River Park.
Yes, and we're also in M.A.G.I.C and Save East River Park / East River Park Action. We're also, and also I believe there's some people here from Elizabeth Street Garden as well. We're also members of the at-risk Green Space Collective as well. So there are other gardens and parks all around the city that are in danger too.
And there's Central Park actually has a group that shares.
I just had a quick question, one quick statement. When I came on the ferry, the line was by the heliport, and I heard a guy say to his kids, "The cat's out of the bag. It's popular now. There's no, So I think there will be support. But the second thing I want to ask is, when you say upzoning, does that mean it's already zoned for commercial development, but they just want to make it taller, or do they want to actually establish a commercial beachhead?
When I say upzoning, I mean it in both respects.
Okay.
Height and usage. So, in fact, what we're going to do at the end of this walk, we're going to circle up at Picnic Point. It's a 20-minute walk if you just walked it and you don't have a disability sort of thing. It's a 20-minute walk. So it's not that long, but it'll take us longer than that because we're going to make stops. But at the end, at Picnic Point, we're going to circle up or hang out, and we can have more Q&A because, in fact, we're planning to have some Q&A here, maybe a few more questions, but we kind of want to get going.
So, but we want to.
And
So now we're going to let Kevin Fitzpatrick speak.
Yes, we are. Oh, sorry. Anyway, yeah. Let's. Is that okay? If we do Q&A later because we're kind of running late. Okay. Kevin Fitzpatrick, introduce yourself, please.
Thanks, Rod.
Thank you.
I'm Kevin Fitzpatrick, and I'm running for mayor of Governor's Island. Hunter vote. But I 110% support M.A.G.I.C and what Roger and Allie are doing. I wrote the book on Governor's Island. I think this location is very, very good to kick off because this building behind us was the Gracie Manor of Governor's Island. This building from 1904 was built for the post commander, which was always a brigadier general, and his family lived here. Men who served all the way back to the Spanish-American War, all the way up to Korea and Vietnam. So this is a very important spot. And the reason I say this is the trust does not want you to remember the history of Governor's Island, okay? This spot right over here where the pizza place is, you see that sundial? This was the general's wife's flower garden, okay, which now they're selling pizza in, okay? So this island's being reactivated as they get rid of the history of what this island's been about. Right over there, on the end of this island is where Wilbur Wright took off the first airplane ride ever over New York City and over water was right here. There's Wright Brothers Field on the Mars, but there's nothing Wright Brothers on the end of that field, which is where they want to build the Hudson Yards of Governor's Island, okay? The trust has had 20 years to fill these buildings. None of these buildings have anybody in them and they're activated, okay? But they want to build another 1 million square feet of high-rise towers on the end of that island, buildings that we don't really need and they don't have a tenant for, okay? The Climate Center is a wolf in sheep's clothing to change the zoning of this island to get people to be living on this island, okay? So I really support what you guys are doing to try and fight City Hall on this, and I really hope that we're successful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin, for coming.
Kevin, read Kevin's book. He's one of the
And visit his website. His website is great.
And vote for him for mayor.
I vote for something.
Done. Ellie, can you hand out flyers? So what we're going to do, if people are willing, we have these flyers. So maybe if you want to, people can. Ellie has a pile of them. You can take a few. If people look at us, passerby, they're curious and look at us, just hand them a flyer. And also they can point at the code if they don't want to touch anything and get the website. And we're going to start right over here. You see where that white plastic sign is. So when we're ready, we'll just kind of gravitate over there for a moment, and that'll be slide 2 on your. If you're on your phone, if you go there, you don't really have to. But slide 1 is actually the magic plan. Slide 2 is
Yes.
the.
Yeah, I have $2.
Hey, we'll just fit your.
Yeah, we can, yeah. Yes, I'll take it. And
She has a magic.
here you go.